Oh. That's a fucking downer. Talk about Captain Buzzkill. How many other happy endings do you ruin with your sad, awkward facts? Woohoo! I just won the lottery! Yes, the 9/11 still happens.
I guess nothing will ever be the same again. Will it, Uncle Cornelius?
Well, my dear, if we all work as hard to save Dapplewood, it will be.
Does that mean my mom and dad will come back to life?
No, dear, they're dead and buried. Well, not yet buried.
Hey, I just figured out a fun activity for you to do tomorrow. So that was Once Upon a Forest, or as the 90s likes to call it, Ferngully Dating. This isn't the worst of those environmental films, as it does try to take a few more chances, like keeping the parents dead and not making man entirely evil, but it doesn't do those elements especially well. The characters are pretty bland, the animation's okay, but nothing film-worthy, and it's just the same message that every other environmental film in the 90s has. So not horrible, it's pretty weak. It just didn't feel like it brought anything that any other film hasn't brought before. It's just a weak film. So you see, it didn't kill you to hear another environmental review, did it? I'm the nostalgia critic guy, remember it? You guys are ass. Hallelujah!
Rheumatism.
Hello, I'm the nostalgia critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. Remember the movie Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland? Well, how about the comic strip? The opera? The game? The freaking postcards? Well then, I guess there's no point in reviewing this. Bye. Okay, let me explain. Little Nemo was a comic strip in the early 1900s. It was about a boy and his adventures in his dreams. It was creative and ran for several years, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on the animated feature. This is an interesting little film, and to be fair, you can't really talk about it unless you go into a little bit of the film's history. It was supposed to be the big showcase to America of Japan's great animation studio, TMS. Who you'd later recognize from such works as Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, and Batman.
But in your Animaniacs tribute, you said it was A-Town.
I was wrong!
Judith.
It started production in 1982, but was released in 1989. It went through several directors, several writers, and several idea men. People like George Lucas, Ray Bradbury, Brad Bird, and Chris Columbus were all involved at some point. Even the world-renowned Hayao Miyazaki was attached to it once, recalling the pleasant production as the worst experience of his professional career. What street cred does he have? Writers thought they were putting words to the pictures, animators thought they were putting pictures to the words. It was a mess. But surprisingly, after all this chaos, it still looks like a mess. So, let's leave for Chance to Puke. This is Little Nemo. First of all, on this fantasy of whimsical wonder and highly praised animation, just look at how creatively they introduce our credits.
Where will you go? Do you know Little Nemo?
Yeah, this is it. This is our adventurous introduction. Look out! They might be going to purple! Oh, the whimsy! So after that, we start appropriately enough with our hero Nemo.
I'm really flying. It's can't be. Can it?
I don't know. You haven't established anything yet.
Yippee!
So he's flying all magical and whatnot, but then the dream takes a sudden dark turn. Little Nemo, entering the charming, magical world of death. You know, most kids' films ease you into the dark stuff. This just fucking throws you in there. Yeah, let's hear that calming intro music now. So he wakes up from the dream, and that's it. Never bring it up again. It's nowhere to be met. What's the purpose of that? To show that kids have the ability to dream? Oh, hey, here's another big shocker. Bill Maher might be snobby. So Nemo is now back in the dream. You can tell by him interacting with his mother, father, flying squirrel, and there's some god knows what.
Come on, let's go!
This is interesting. Even though all the fantasy stuff happens in his dreams, apparently a flying squirrel with a verbally challenged golem voice has some place in solid reality. He goes to see a parade welcoming the circus in town that will no doubt lead to images he'll see in his dreams.
Would you like a ride?
Yes, sir!
If you hadn't guessed yet, most of Nemo's dialogue consists of wow and yippee and you pretty much get more interesting dialogue out of one of the talking farm animals for.
A bland, undeveloped character says.
So Nemo wants to see the circus, but his father says he's too busy to take.
Will you take me to see it, please, Papa?
Perhaps tomorrow.
Have a wonderful day.
That's it for that thing. Okay, well, we took him later that night when we see him trying to sneak some pie away, pretending to sleep.
No.
I guess that's it for that scene. You know, this movie flows about as smoothly as the Grand Canyon Rapids. But after he goes to sleep, we finally start screaming. And this time he's approached by what should have been interesting characters.
Do I have the honor of addressing little Nemo? I am a professor. I am a genius. You can call me Professor Genius.
Well, I find that name obnoxious and uncreative. I'm going to call you obnoxiously uncreative.
We have been sent here on a mission by King Morpheus, the king of Slumberland.
Morpheus?
If you take the blue pill, you wake up in your bed believing whatever you want to do. If you take the red pill, you'll end up in slumber. Machine!
So the king wants Nemo to be the official playmate of his daughter Camille, but Nemo has some reservations.
Wait a minute. This princess is a girl?
You sure you want to continue with him being the protagonist movie? You still have time to switch. I'd much rather see what the father's doing at work. But Nemo agrees and leaves probably the most detailed note explaining what's going on since the suicide markings from it. Yeah, that'll explain everything. I get him on a blimp heading for Slumberland, and this results in the most expressive and uniquely creative of verbal responses.
Wow-wee!
You see, he could have just gone for wow, but instead he went for wow. Oh, stand back. A little bit more wonderment, and we might get an entire zippity-doo out of him.
How about taking the helm, Nemo?
No, you don't want to do that.
That little Nemo seems to be piloting it. Oh, it burst into flames! It burst into flames! Nemo has killed God knows how many enchanted creatures! This is the worst tragedy ever! Oh, I'm at a loss for words, ladies and gentlemen.